Hey everybody, it's Michelle LaVore and
Devin LaVore
coming at ya. And we're so glad that you're here, and we do pray that you guys are blessed by what the Lord has to share today. We are going to be going over Act 3, Scene 22 of the Restoration play that the Lord has us in, and it's going to be good, I think, for this week. It's definitely been a good week.
Yeah.
And but before we begin, we want to give a huge thank you to everyone who has given to us and helps to support us.
Oh man.
We really appreciate everyone who was able to respond to the last video we put out, and so huge thank you to all of you.
Yeah, we don't often have to put out like multiple in a row, one a week like that, but I don't know, it just seems like the way things are going, that might be an occurrence, you know. I don't know, you know, that just might end up happening. I don't know. We'll see, because it even that kind of fits into what we're going to share about how things are shifting and changing. And it's like there's things that, because in our last video we talked about like ancient stuff coming up, and it's like, no, you're overcoming. We're going beyond that into something new, but it's like anyway. I'll start the video here in a second.
But yeah, so
huge
thank you to all of you, and we are just continually needing support. So if you would like to give to us, you can. We have a PayPal link, a Cash App link, and a Venmo. I was about to say a Venmo. I don't know what I was going to say. Venmo.
Talk about Vietnam or something.
Link below, and you can click any of those, and we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, we really do. We give all the glory to God because He's our supporter, right? Tonight we had a God time about the insufficiency of our ability and how to lean on God completely. And it's just like I was praying, I was like, Lord, where am I in this message? What are you saying? I am totally insufficient. But it's like I know that it is your will to make us sufficient. And I know you've put us in this place as a testimony to prove your sufficiency. Even though a lot of people don't understand why we do what we do, and they don't think it's the Lord and all that, that's to be expected. That's just the way it is. But it's like, okay, Lord, what am I trying to say? In you we rise and fall. You know, Jesus went from the highest high to the lowest low, and then went back up again. You know what I mean? And so we truly do appreciate everything. But it's just like lately it feels like we're out in the middle of the ocean and we're treading water, and we get tired. Like you see someone treading water and they're tired, and it's like, and then they go under, but then they have to come up and get some air. Feels like that's the way it's been for us financially. And I'm just like, Lord, you are the all-sufficient one. And I'm thinking, wow, if this is what's going on, man, what is going on out there in the marketplace? You know, what is really going on? Because we don't really keep up on the news that much. You know, even on like all the prophetic words coming out, we don't really keep up on that as much either. What we do is we just focus on the Lord, and you know, He leads us. And of course, we're not ignorant to any of it either, but it's just like there must be some stuff going on. And the one thing the Lord just kept saying to me all week, or just that scripture just kept coming to my mind, that like he sends support to His righteous even in famine, something like that. Like he provides for the righteous even in times of famine, even when the rest of the land is just impoverished and they can't find a green bean, and it's like, you will be provided for, you know. And so I was like, oh, okay, cool. And so I just felt like that kind of fit into the whole giving thing, because it's just like, you know, really ultimately you have to depend on the Lord. It's like, even if you have a 9-to-5 job, and even like we did for most of our adult lives, right? You know, I mean, I'm 50 years old, you know, I've only been without a job for like 6 years, since 2014. The end of 2014? No, that was the end of 2014.
Yeah.
So 2015, so like 7 years, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, we're coming up on almost 7 years. And so it's like the rest of that time I've always had a job. But even in that, I still had to depend on the Lord. It's like there's this idea that if you have a job, you don't depend on the Lord anymore. You don't need to, because the Lord provided the job. Well, if you're following the Lord, I mean really following the Lord, what if he says, I want you to quit your job and I want you to go this direction? Are you going to do that? Well, we did. And the Lord proved himself by providing for us. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so it's like, so in that, we reckon that's all a foundation for the thanksgiving we have for the people that God brings into our life to give to us. It's just super awesome. So, little drawn out preamble from the preambler. So let's begin with the introduction. We had the preface, the preamble. Now let's do the introduction.
Yeah. No, well, it was interesting too for me this week that there was just, I don't know, it was just really on me of just almost just having all these, like throughout especially the end of the week, of just these almost like Selah moments where I'm just like, Lord, thank you for how you have provided. And it was just, it was really, I mean, I just felt like it was the Spirit of God just like, hey, just
like
take
over the whole journey.
Yeah,
not just the last couple of weeks, just like, wow, look what you've done.
Particularly like it was this week, as far as, I mean, it was the whole journey, but for me it was just like, take this moment and really like capture it, like capture this moment of just like, wow, Lord, you are so good, you continue to provide, and I don't want to like let this moment go by without just once again like coming to you and saying thank you. I think it's, sometimes I guess for me, and I don't feel like I was this way, but I think a good example is, you can say thank you to the Lord for your food as you're getting ready to eat, but it can just become less like, all right, thank you, Lord, thank you, but then there's those times maybe where God's just like, yeah, look what I've done, I've provided for you to eat, and it just really hits your heart in just a fresh way. And so I think for me it was just that again this week, and I was just like, Lord, I just, there were just a few times where I'm just like, Lord, I cannot, like, I just have to say thank you, and I have to like, just like, I was praying a lot. And so just particularly about just the provision that he continues to give, and it's just like, wow, Lord, you're amazing.
So that part in No Turning Back, was that hitting you this week? Because we did that song a couple times. You said, I want to say thank you.
Yeah, it might have been subconsciously. I don't think it was.
Well, there was a couple times where during worship, you're just like, yes. I wonder if it was during that part of the song.
Oh, it might have been. But
I was like, man, she's really feeling it. And it was probably during that part of that song.
Yes.
Whenever that song came on.
So we'll just go ahead and roll right into this week, and
we're already rolling.
I know.
Rolling.
And so, like I said, this is going to be Act 3, Scene 22. And, we actually, in our last video, kind of started to spill over into this week. And it was just kind of about this, like, fatness and, like, God building us up. And
like the last what, like 4 weeks of a pregnancy or something, the last 4 or 5 weeks of a pregnancy,
and
where the baby's just
particularly like those very end weeks where the baby just continually grows and grows, and at one point they can be gaining up to an ounce a day of just like,
which is crazy,
which is very crazy. Awesome. And I just really feel like that's what was happening this week. There were, particularly with relationship development, where God just like, I am just quickly developing things in your heart and in your lives as far as these friendships and adding into them. But I've also noticed, and I talked about this in the last video, was just like, man, I'm starting to get this like increase in prayer in the Spirit, and it had just continued. I mean, every single night.
It's like God is like, press the intercession button, boop, it's like all red, lit up.
Yeah. I mean, every single night I like lay my head down. I mean, immediately it's just like I'm just starting to pray in the Spirit, and I like different people will come to mind and I just am praying over them, and it's like, wow, Lord, like you are really increasing what you're doing. And it really kind of reminds me of the beginning of this year, and I think I mentioned that in the last video as well, but it just reminded me of how at the beginning of the year the Lord had me just praying so much in the Spirit. And this go around is different because at the beginning it was almost more of just, it was very personal to me and what God was doing in my own heart and life at the time. And it was also, it was really strengthening me and preparing me for what was going to come next. But I feel like this time I'm praying, and it's very, very much like praying in the Spirit, but for others in it, just like a whole new level. And I'm like, wow, Lord, you're really increasing this the prayer of the Spirit with me for others, particularly like over this last week or so. And so I'm just like, whoa, like maybe that's part of that fatness that God just like, I'm putting this on and I'm building it up and continuing to increase in prayer. And I'm just like, okay, well, we'll just keep going with it. But even just throughout the day, like there's just, for me, there's just times where it's just like, whoa, I'm just needing to pray. I'm needing to just go with the flow of the Spirit and what God is doing. And I do believe that we really are in this time of preparation where God's, I think when you do pray in the Spirit, there is just, God really is preparing you for like the next level that you're going to be going into.
He is.
And what he's going to be doing. And so...
Can I touch on that real quick? Because you talked about preparation. And so I've been seeing the 10:17 like all week, right? And for me, 10:17 always leads me to Psalm 10:17. And I saw it right at the beginning of the month. And I was not happy. I wasn't, man. Because it's like there are two numbers that really have bothered me over this whole journey. And that's 10:17 and 444.
Yep.
Now, 444, that's just changed for us. I mean, it's just not... It's almost like a soldier that's fallen back into line. It was step forward this whole journey, and God was just exposing so much stuff, right? But then it's like, okay, step back, and now it's just like every other number we see. It's like, okay, what are you saying here, Lord? And it's different stuff. It's different things. It's like the Lord's preparing us for it, because there's exposure that leads to victory. When you expose it like exposing like wrong thinking. It's really been a lot of like renewing of the mind stuff. And so the victory is replacing it with truth, and then you have complete freedom forever. But then you get the 10:17, and it's like when I see the 10:17, I'm like, man, that just means waiting. That's what that means. And it's like, Lord, you destroyed the bench of waiting. You said that this parade that we're standing on the sidewalk of prophetically was not a sidewalk of waiting. And it's like, the reason the Lord will tell you stuff like that is because it's going to look a lot like the bench of waiting. He's like, but don't think that it is. It's not. And I'm like, okay. I mean, waiting's waiting, isn't it? But it's like, no, it's different. And it really is. It's different. It's like for those who are coffee drinkers, someone could come up to you and say, well, I mean, coffee's coffee, right? And you might want to smack the person, especially if you're a hardcore coffee drinker. You're like, no, it's not. Here, drink this. Okay, now drink this. Okay. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's totally different.
Yeah.
Or like, I listen to like hardcore music or heavy metal a lot of times, and people who don't listen to it, they all say it's all sounds the same. And people who listen to metal are like, no, it is not. You just don't listen to it. And of course, God is the God of waiting. He waits more than anybody. Think about it. He still has desires he's been waiting on since the beginning that he hasn't had fulfilled. Woo! Talk about waiting. I don't think anybody but God can handle that kind of waiting. And so here we are on the sidewalk, and I believe that this whole waiting time that we're going through or this preparation time that we're going through is part of that waiting because again, every float is the fulfillment of every promise, right? And so if we're getting ready to birth this parade, of God's promises, it's like there's a fattening up that needs to take place. And Psalm 10:17 says, "O Lord, you have heard the desire and the longing of the humble and oppressed." That's what the Lord's like. See that? That's not just about waiting. That's like, I heard you. I have heard you, and I know that you're humble and oppressed, meaning you recognize your insufficiency to save yourself. It's like, and you're calling to me. And I was like, I hear you. The King hears you, And it says, you will prepare and strengthen and direct their hearts. And it's like, that's what we're in that time of preparing, strengthening, directing. You will cause your ear to hear. And so both of the you will prepare, strengthen, and direct their hearts, that's the waiting part. But it's sandwiched by, I hear you. I hear you. I'm with you. Yes, I'm for you. I'm working things out. And so so I feel like everything you just said kind of fits right into the parade, because it can be like, well, what happened to the whole parade vision? Oh no, we're still here, and we're waiting for it to start, because the Lord said it was going to start, and it's going to start. But it's like he's fattening us up with more understanding of what's about to start. And that's why we've gotten I don't know how much we talked about it in our last video, but we've received these 2 new relationships in our life, 2 new friendships, and man, the Lord has literally been fattening both of the relationships up with what he's doing. I mean, there's just been the level of communication has gone to like level intense right away. It's just like no cup of coffee talk about the weather. Let's just get right to the heart of God and destiny and purpose and just testimony, and you know what I mean? It's just like, I was like, this is the fattening up right here. This is it, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Because God has started something, but then it's like, okay, I got that started. Now let's go over here and work on the individual parts, and let's fatten this thing up. And it's just like, it's been amazing to see what God's doing. That's a whole video by itself.
But it's been interesting too, because we are still very much in this time. This whole month in September has been just this draw from the Lord, like, come and meet with me, and that has continued so much this week. The
Elul Kings in the Field thing.
And that has really continued so much for us, and even within our family, where God's like, I'm here, I want to meet with you, I'm here to encounter your hearts, and
that is what will fatten you up.
And it's like, that's been my prayer, like, throughout this whole week. One of them is just like, Lord, give us encounters, let us like stir up our hearts, and let us just meet with you and see who you are, and just come and revive us. Because I really feel like, not just for our family, but I just, I think that there's so many where we have been believing for so long that it's like, you need the revival of the Lord. You need those rolls from the Lord. And I know that I had I prayed about it, but
like the dinner rolls?
Yeah, but I prayed about it actually.
Because there's different kinds of rolls. You know what I'm saying?
On the last video. And
come on, that was funny.
And
you don't want to butter them biscuits.
Well, maybe
Sorry.
I do, because, butter, that's fat. So,
That's
the
true.
Lord said fatness.
This comes with butter on it, so
Anyway.
about 40 pounds of it. No, I'm just kidding.
And, because in the last video, I was at the end, I was praying, and I was really seeing just coming to the Lord, and He was ready to hand out rules, hand out revelation, hand out cups of His goodness, because He wants to revive His people.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just what He's doing. And so it's just been my prayer throughout this whole week, like, Lord, send that for us. Send forth your word. Send forth your goodness upon our life, that we might be revived, that our hearts would come alive again. And it's been a prayer for me over our family really all week of just, man, Lord, we need to have revival. We need to be strengthened to be able to go forth and even to, it really, I just really feel like it is on God's heart, and it's really about also God bringing, some of us, our hearts need some healing, from the weariness, from certain, there is healing in the revealing. And I really believe that God is we're coming into a season of hearts being healed. Sometimes for a heart, it's like an over time, like things, God just continually like heals and heals and heals. But I just feel like right now there is this sense of God just like, He wants to bring healing to His people in those areas where it's been very hard and long, and maybe places, where you haven't talked to the Lord about. One of our sons, God's just really just been like, just share with me, open up into those places that you haven't wanted to go. And even today, like when we were talking with him, I was just reminded of the importance of restoration and the story, or basically in John chapter 21, how Peter, who had denied Christ, in this like, moment where Jesus is like suffering, and Peter,
he needed friends the most,
who was saying like, Lord, I would never deny you, ends up denying him 3 times. And then it's like, but before, then of course Jesus was raised again. He saw Peter, but the 3rd time that he met up with Peter and some of the disciples was in John chapter 21. And of course, this is before Jesus ascended, and I feel like it was so vital, it was so important, especially for Peter, because Jesus takes the time to, when they see a miracle of fish, but then he brings Peter over and he starts basically restoring him.
Can I say something on that? It literally just hits me. Oh my word. I mean, we will get to this part of the video, but can I just say this right now? Yeah. Look at what he did. It literally just hit me right then. Like, he got the fish up for them, right? It's like, hey, cast your nets. And they were like, oh, what did that do? It took them back to the very beginning. I mean, isn't that what the Lord's been doing with us all week? It's like he's been taking us back to the beginning, or not even all week, but just this month of September, of addressing ancient things and bringing up old things. I've been talking about I have been talking about, what's it, the banquet hall vision this month more than I have in probably a couple years.
That's true. And we even this week in just a lot of our God times, we were talking about, in this, remember in 2017 when it was definitely a lot of that. You're right about that.
Yeah, even what you just said, the healing and the revealing. The Lord gave that to me back in like November or something like that of 2017. And I thought it was going to happen in 2017. Little did I know about living out prophetic words. Yeah. Don't you read the Bible? Yes, but now I start to understand a little bit of it. You know what I'm saying?
But the Bible has all the time edited out.
It
right?
does.
It's like,
it sure does.
You go from one scripture to like 5 down, it's like, and so-and-so was born, and then so-and-so.
And then when they became older, and he married so-and-so, and that didn't work out, and then he married so-and-so. This is where our story begins. Like, what?
That's like a lifetime.
That's like 30 years. Like, what year? It's like, I gotta give you some proper background.
Yeah.
But I think that's interesting. It fits into the, old things being put to rest and new things starting. Because I don't know, we'll get more into it. But it's just bookmark that. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know how to communicate it. I'm just like, wow. I'm like blown away.
Well,
that's
like
what
you
he
said,
did for them.
It took them back to the very
beginning.
first meeting they had with Jesus when he filled the 2 boats to overflowing.
And this is like the recorded last meeting they had before the last meeting. We all know that's the ascension.
Yeah.
But before the ascension, there is no other meeting recorded but this one. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, wow.
Yeah, and so it's
I guess we're going to ascend next. Get filled with the Holy Spirit, something.
Well, but then it's like, so basically Peter's, there's this miracle, and then he's like, whoa, it's the Lord. I think John was the one who said, hey, it's the Lord, and Peter just jumps into the water and, goes ashore, and I love this part, because then it's like they bring their nets up with all the fish, but Jesus he literally already had fish cooking.
Yeah.
I love it, because it was like he didn't even need to do what he did, because he had the food there.
Yeah.
But then for him to like sit down and really just take time with Peter to restore him.
Yeah.
And I just believe it was so necessary for Peter to have that moment before the day of Pentecost.
Yeah.
Before the promise from the Father came, there was a need for restoration. And I just believe that's why the Lord is like, I'm here in the field right now, because there is a need for restoration in my people's hearts before everything changes, before the equivalent, before the promise from the Father is fulfilled. And
because Peter at that point, without that restoration, he might have just counted himself out.
Yeah.
And there would have been 119 people in the upper room, because Peter's like, I'm not worthy.
Or just what it would have... I
blew it big time.
Well, or just like, he was also receiving his calling from the Lord, like, Peter, feed my sheep. He was like hearing him, like, restore him, but then also being given that, like, security and sense of like, this is who you are, this is who I'm calling you to be, and so that when the day of Pentecost came, there was just a boldness in him, and like that, all right, this is what I'm here to do.
From the love of God, the all-sufficient the love of God is the only thing that is sufficient. God is love, and it's like he said I'm worthy. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has qualified and anointed me. I didn't do it myself. He did it.
Yeah.
Nothing against degrees and training and education. All that's all great, but it's like, it's the Spirit of the Lord on you that qualifies and promotes you and changes you and approves of you. You know.
Yeah, and so I was really hit with that passage, but I was also reminded of the Chronicles of Narnia with Edmund, And
Edmund.
I'm going to say it right. I said it wrong earlier
Not
today.
Edward.
I'm going to start with an E. But Edmund, in the story, he's one of the 4 children. And but he betrays his brothers and sister for Turkish delights, basically.
Turkish delights.
And then he's put into prison, basically, by the evil queen.
The white queen.
Yeah, the white queen or whatever.
Jadis.
And
she was feeling a little jaded.
But then eventually he's released, and Aslan is there, and they're getting ready to go to battle against the White Queen
forces.
And but there's this moment where Edmund goes into the tent with Aslan, and it's just this, they have this moment. You don't know what's said or anything like that, but it's like it was a time where there was a restoration there. And I think that it was really important because they were then getting ready to go into battle, and Aslan as the leader would know, hey, this needs to happen for him and even for the others, as a show of like, look, I've restored, he's okay, we've talked everything through, and so there was like, just
things of the past do not need to be discussed.
Yeah,
we've already taken care of it.
Yeah.
We're moving forward into the future.
Yeah, and so I really, and that's exactly what I feel like the Lord is talking about. He wants to be able to, and he's inviting, I feel like, his people right now to talk to him about things of the past, to share hearts of, Lord, this is how I've been wounded. This is what I've gone through. This is what I'm feeling. But also to be in a place where it's like, God, come and heal my heart. Fill it with your glory. Fill it so that what is seen is you, and what my heart experiences is you. Like, and just that there's no more, there's just that weariness can flee, and that there can be that readiness to be able to go forth. And so, I just definitely believe like we're still in that time where it's just this, so much of this month that just like God saying like, I am here. I want to meet with you. Come meet with me. Share your heart. Lay down your burdens. Like, just come and fellowship, and I will hear your heart, and then you can listen to my heart.
Yeah.
But it very much, it's just very, very personal. I think that, with the picture of what God is doing right now.
Yeah.
And, I definitely would encourage everyone to just, take time, take moments, if you can, and just really open, have time set aside, meet with the Lord and just be like, God, I'm here. I'm ready to meet with you. Like, I'm ready, and maybe, because sometimes you might not even realize the areas of your heart that you need him in, it's like, because it's so, sometimes we just bury stuff and you don't even think about it. And it's just like, Lord, search my heart, see what's there. And, if you have anything that you know my heart better than I know myself, and where do I need healing? What do we need to talk about? And just allow him to bring that out.
Yeah.
And it's just, there is such a tenderness, I feel, with just the Lord, and where he's just like, he's in this place that is just, he just really, really wants to pour out upon his people. And it's not judgment of disappointment, disapproval, but it's really just, he's like, I want to pour out for healing. I want to pour out for restoration and lifting up and just breathing life back into my people.
Yeah. Well, going back to the 10:17, I really felt like when I was getting the 10:17 and it's being, Psalm 10:17, I really felt like the Lord was almost like this is going to be happening like most of the month. I didn't really feel like it was going to be happening the whole month, I have to be honest, whether I understand it or not, I have to deliver whatever I feel like what the Lord says, and I just felt like, and why do I say that? I preface it because it's a time frame, and it's just like, man, I do not have a good track record with time frames. But I just gotta go with what I feel is what the Lord's saying, or at least, because it's like you can be hearing from the Lord and you can even be sensing a time frame, but you might interpret it wrong or put yourself in there or something like that. Some things just have to happen. So I've learned to just share it, I'm just gonna share the way I got it, because a lot of times I think we want to have like a complete paragraph all nice and edited to present to the people, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you have a word, what they call it, a word jumble. What I mean? It's like, maybe you guys could put it together. But I did. I felt like the Lord gives me the 10:17. It was actually just at the tail end of October, September. I don't think so. Anyway, at the tail end of August, and I felt like it was just going to be most of September, but not totally all of September.
Which kind of makes sense, because
Why?
Well, because the Jewish New Year starts September 25th.
Right.
And if
I found that out later.
And if it's
right.
like connected with like the month of Elul, which is their 12th month, which is when kind of we were feeling like this whole.
So things are going to be shifting at the end of the month. That's what I felt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, let the water break, Lord. Woohoo! Let the water break. As we step into the Jordan, let the water break. Like a mother going into labor. Let the water break. We could flow right into the promises of God, right into the promised land that's flowing with just amazing grace and favor from the Lord, But also, I wanted to tell a story about the whole king in the field thing. Just a testimony of something that happened to me this past week, this scene 22. And that is, I kept seeing the number 77 like crazy. And so that took me to Matthew 7:7, and it was just like, keep asking, keep seeking, keep knocking. I'm just like, okay. And then I was taken to Luke 18:1-8. That's like an 18:18 for us. And it's about the widow and the unjust judge who kept coming. And I felt like the Lord was saying, I know you've done this a lot, but here we are in this time, do it again. What is it? Pour out your heart. Keep asking, keep seeking. What is it that you want to know? What is it? Just, here I am. I'm here for you. What? You know what I mean? That's where the Lord is at. And it's like, and part of me, when I go through times like that, I have to really push myself, because I'm like, Lord, come on. Like, dude, seriously, I don't understand. Like, why are you asking me to ask you for the 1,387th time the same stuff? Like, why do you do that? Because you clearly do that, and it's even in the word, keep asking. And I'm like, why? And it's like, I have to push past that. That's the dark cloud that I have to push. What?
That's probably why the Lord's like, you need to have faith like a child, because a child just keeps asking and asking and asking and asking.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes you gotta tell a child to be quiet. It's like, quit asking me so much. you know. And the Lord will rebuke the father, say, "No, don't let him ask. That's good faith development. Come on." I call it nagging, Lord. He's like, I call it faith and prayer. You know? I'm like, well, I'm gonna teach him to talk to you then. Exactly. You're right. You got it. No, but yeah, so I went through that, and it was just like I just felt like the Lord was reminding me of stuff He reminded me of something from a while ago. You know, where we thought stuff was going to be happening at the end of the year, and it didn't, and then we came into this new place, and it was just like I was so bummed, and the Lord said, "You will not be denied." And I was like, okay, it sure seems like we have been denied. But he reminded me of that whole encounter I had with him. And so I just feel like that's kind of part of what the fattening up of this month is. It's like reminding you of things. And I just gave the Lord let me give a prophetic word to someone just recently, where the Lord was just like saying, I'm getting ready to show you the dreams again, and show you faith again, and show you hope again, because some of these things haven't been visited for such a long time that it's like a dark door, and it's just like you got to go through the dark door and unearth these hidden things, and it's going to be just like the door to ultimate victory and overcoming, and so that's just where we're at right now. It's like God is open. It's like, I'm open for business. Come on, who's coming to the booth? You know what I mean? You know, I watch a lot of reptile stuff, a lot meaning like a couple times a day, or when I'm with certain times a day, I watch a couple of videos or something like that. But it's not like I'm watching like 10 videos in a row or something like that. But I keep up on a lot of reptile stuff, and they have a lot of reptile expos, and a lot of people flood to those expos. Why? Because they're only going to be there for a certain amount of days. Mm-hmm. Or like D23, like the Disney Expo or Comic-Con or something like that. It's only there for the weekend. Mm-hmm. And so it gets flooded because people are like, oh. And so the Lord is like, the Jesus booth at Kingdom Con is open, you know. Come talk to me. Who wants to talk to me? Who wants to see my displays? You know what I'm saying? And yeah, and it's just like the Lord just wants you to come to his booth and talk to him, and that's just kind of where we're at. And I feel like that's where we're at, even on the sidewalk waiting. It's like I had this vision of this fire truck coming and spraying this foam on us, you know. I believe that has something to do with this month, and you know, maybe not necessarily this month, but this maybe after this month, or I don't know, after the time of waiting. I don't know when, but I just feel like it's tied into this time frame that we're in, whether it be now or whether it be after this preparation time, whatever. I feel like it's part of the preparation. That's why I say this month, because we're in a time of preparation, so it makes sense that it would come during this time. But you know, God has his own sense that he makes, you know. He's the one who makes sense, we don't. And so yeah, so I just wanted to touch on that as being like, yeah, we're just in that time, because I feel like it kind of dovetails with what you were sharing there. Yeah.
Well, I think that's all that we have for you guys for this week. And, you know, there's always more we could share, but
oh my gosh,
I just really feel like this is what God is having us deliver for today. Yeah. And so pray that you guys are blessed, and, you know, just take that time and go meet with the Lord, because there is definitely you know, just like you're saying, that open door for what God is doing. And you know, I'm like, it feels weird saying like, okay, you know, it's always open with the Lord, but you know, he can really highlight certain things that he's doing in a moment, and it's just like right now he's just like, this is what I would like to do with my people.
Well, it's like, you know, we're always together, but then when the kids go to sleep and you're just sitting here and just like, ooh, that's an open door.
Yeah, we
to
can
be
just,
with you
and
in a way that you can't all day when kids are awake.
And you get
know what I mean?
interrupted 500 times, and it's like, oh,
That's why we do most of our communication at night. We do our videos at night.
Yep.
We do, during the day.
We get to hang out.
I mean, when he's 5, Isaiah's 5 years old now. I mean, when he was taking naps, we were doing our videos during nap time.
Yeah,
but
not anymore.
No siree.
No, it's kind of sad when naps go away, but it's all right.
Yeah. Your free time gets dwindled to nubs.
Yeah.
To nothing,
Yeah.
You're gleaning for free time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But yeah,
Anyway.
so we just pray that you guys are blessed, and until
Yes.
next time, we will see you later.
Yes, and I want to say, for those who've made it this far in the video, again, huge thank you for just giving to us, for supporting us in every way, for just prayers and just your heart of understanding and encouraging words. It's just super awesome for us.
Yeah.
It's just as much food as actual food.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So,
All right. We will see you guys later.
bye-bye.
Bye.